Hello and welcome. In this Suspense video we're taking a look at the incorrect treatment of purchases returns and the incorrect treatment of a transport charge. The question can be quite difficult to read, so a small change, putting the different instructions into different colours may make it easier. Craddock, the owner, had returned furniture, and he is a furniture and carpet showroom man, so it's purchases returns. Previously purchased on credit from a supplier for $8,800. So if his purchases returns and suppliers, they're creditors. What you're expected to know as a student is that this is where you record purchases returns. What they should have recorded is 8,800 and double entry brings it to here. What did they do? They entered this transaction in the relevant ledger accounts incorrectly as 8,880. So they used the correct accounts and the correct side, but they entered the wrong figure. So rather than 8,800, they entered 8,880 there and down here as well. Afterwards, a credit note subsequently arrived from supplier in respect of the return showing a transport charge of 200. What that means is we're simply not going to get the full 8,800, so we do a contra entry of 200, which we double entry down to here. But how did they record that? The only entry they made was a credit entry, a right hand side entry of 8,600 in the creditor's account. So a right hand side entry of 8,600. That's all they did. We don't have complete double entry, so we will need a suspense. I'm going to cancel these out back to a blank ledger, and then we will record this. We'll get rid of the 8,880 by putting a cancelling 8880 on the opposite side, which we will double entry down to here. We will get rid of the 8,600 by putting a cancelling entry on the opposite side, which we will double entry to down here. And we will get rid of the 8880 by putting a cancelling entry on the opposite side, which we will double entry to down here. An 888 on the left can cancel out an 888 on the right. So what did we do in red to cancel back to a blank ledger? We put an entry into purchases returns, and we put it on the left hand side there, 8880. We put two entries into creditors. We put an 8600 on the left, and we put an 8880 on the right. And in suspense we put an 8600 on the right there. This brings us back to a blank ledger, and now we can write it up properly. What should we do? We should use purchases returns. We should put a 200 on the left, and we should put an 8800 on the right. And we should use creditors. We should put an 800 on the left, and we should put a 200 on the right. So this brings us back to a blank ledger. This writes it up properly, and finally we put in our sentence to explain what's happening, and that's it finished.